What's going on, y'all? So tonight we're just going to be mixing on the palette tonight, and I'm not even going to use my normal palette because you can't really tell the colors really with the camera. So I'm just going to be using a paper plate with some white and some different types of yellow. It's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to get it real close. So I've got Indian yellow, medium yellow, and then Indian yellow. It's kind of opposite on the screen. Then I've got titanium white. We're just going to be mixing it in the middle, and I'm going to be showing y'all how to create different types of browns. But we're mostly just going to be using the medium yellow and red and blue. All right, so I was actually in the middle of setting up the shop, and I didn't want to miss the time just because I was late for work, and I haven't done a live stream in a while for y'all, so I figured, you know what, I'm not going to be late on this one. So let me find my palette knife real quick. And my ultramarine blue, because that's what I usually use, is ultramarine blue. Either that or phthalo blue, but mostly ultramarine, as y'all see me using often. So we've got the two different types of blues already on there. There's the ultramarine, and then there's the crimson, and then up top is phthalo blue. We're not going to be using phthalo blue too much. But I'm just going to be showing y'all different ways to look at the browns. And I'm actually going to use a blank canvas for this. So let's grab this one. I was going to use a black one, but you know, it might be easier to see on white. So let's bust open a new canvas and get started. So I know you've already seen it, but this one already has a new owner. It's got fireflies in it, and it was a buddy of mine, and I completely blanked that it was his birthday because yesterday I was not feeling well after work. He even told me it was his birthday, and I just completely missed it. I don't know how I missed it. Probably the heat exhaustion, but yep. So that is that. And I need to take that down. So that is his birthday present. The one that I did in the tents. That was a fun time. Hey Sheila, good to see you. Glad you're on. Glad you can make it. If y'all wouldn't mind sharing this out just real quick. I always forget to turn on my laptop and get this started. But I'm just gonna have a quick one because I'm still not feeling 100%. It was exhausting today. So mostly what we're going to be paying attention to is the two paper plates that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to try to set up my camera in a way that it kind of rotates, and y'all can see what we're doing. This might take half a second, so hope you're prepared to be patient. Here we go. So I'm just going to have the palettes right down here. So here's the yellow, and here's the blue section. We're going to keep the darks and the lights separate, and then we're going to be mixing right here in the middle. Let me see if I can get y'all a little bit closer, actually, because it's kind of hard to see colors with this camera. It's not the best, unless you get really close. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go just take some ultramarine blue, some crimson, and some yellow all together. And we're just going to start like that. And I'm going to do my normal mix, and I'm going to teach you the difference between like a rich brown, which has got a lot of yellow, like a warm brown, which mostly has a lot of red, and a cool brown, which has more blues than it does. And also the differences here in between, because you can make a brown look almost green, you can make it look almost red, or even blue and purple by just subtracting different colors or adding two different colors. It's really not that difficult. It may sound complex, but it really isn't. So we've got the big glop of blue there, yeah? So this isn't a very powerful blue, so we don't need much crimson to compensate for that. Honestly, we probably only need about, here we go. We probably just need about this much on the knife. In comparison, look at the two. Here, let's get you up close. Here's the glop, and here's what's on my knife. Not very much. Because crimson is ridiculously powerful. If you're using permanent red, which I don't typically use, I like my powerful colors, at least when it's on one side, then you won't need too much of the crimson, but you will need a lot of the opposite colors to kind of go in with them. So the way we're going to go about this is I'm going to show y'all the different colors that make brown. So it's just different combinations. So you can have oranges, or you could have purples or greens to start with. So in this case, we're going to start with the purple because that's what I usually do. It just makes more sense to me. So all I do is I take a big bunch of the blue and I just mix it with the crimson, which is your typical blue and red. And you mix them until they're a real dark color, almost a black. And then when you spread them thin, you can actually kind of see them, see what they are and what tint they're towards. In my case, this is more towards the blue side. Well, actually, yeah, it's more towards the blue side, which is a good thing. So all you have to do to counter that is go into yellow, even though it's got a little bit of crimson in there, and you can just start mixing them together. Purple is literally just red and blue, or crimson and blue. You just mix them together. And that's how you get your brown. Now, I'm going to show you the slightly more advanced method. It's not really that much more advanced. It's actually pretty easy when you kind of get the hang of it. The method is when you see it's more towards one color as you want it towards another color, like for instance, this is a really, really rich brown. That means I just added a ton of yellow. So let's get up close and see what we did. Here, I'll take a little bit of white even and just kind of show y'all what it looks like. It's nice and rich and looks almost sandy. That means you added a lot of yellow. So if I wanted to have, say, for instance, a cooler color, I mean, actually warm it up, I would just go into crimson here. Let's say a warmer color. I'd just go into crimson and I would grab that big dark splotch and just mix it up. You don't need much because crimson's so powerful. And then you just take that little bit and then you take white and use it as like a tester just to see what it's like. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit more warm, but we want it warmer than that. And just wipe off your knife and go back into a little bit more crimson. You don't need much. Again, I probably just put in way too much right there, but this is actually not a bad example because it's actually becoming a lot more warm than it was. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So if you look really closely, it's a lot warmer than it was right here. And the way to tell, just again, take some white, splish, just stretch it out right there. See? It's nice and warm. Just add the crimson to make it warmer. And if you want it to be more towards, say, the cooler side, temperature-wise, just go in and add blue. Same thing. And this time we're going to grab a lot of blue because ultramarine blue is not very powerful. If it's phthalo blue that you're going to add, I would say don't use very much because that's more powerful than crimson, but it's not. So in this case, we're just going to be rather liberal with it. There we go. Wipe off the knife a little bit so we can go into white. and do our little tester. There we go. Now it looks a lot cooler than it was, which just means more towards the blue side. Super easy. Okay, so I'm actually going to scrape all this off. I'm going to save it on my palette so I can use it later and go into another example. I'm going to start with green. I can make mud. Mud is very easy to make. But can you control mud? This is actually, without saying it, this is actually controlling mud. This is the way to control mud. And actually, I'm going to enjoy having all these different browns on my palette because then I can go do some nice fall paintings afterwards. Here we go. So we got our blue. So the way to make green is literally blue and yellow, as simple as that. I'm trying to get away from all this crimson that's on it. There we go. Just kind of mix it up and mash it where you can. And I'm going to make it like more towards the yellow. Actually, this is probably towards the blue side more. But, you know, we can work with it one way or the other. I will be showing you all the differentiations as much as possible. And I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. It's a method that I was actually thinking of, but just wasn't sure how to word it. I'm not the best with words. Mud pies, yes. So now we've got our green there, right? So since we've got our nice green, I'm actually going to take a big strip of it off and put it over to the side so that I can, you know, come back for it later. And I'm going to use this little blotch with crimson. And this is going to make our brown because red, green, and yellow all equal to brown. Now, it just depends on how much you add, but it could be a warmer brown or a richer brown. In my case, mine is turning into a much warmer brown towards the green side, which means it's warm, but it's got more blue than it's got yellow. When you've got a nice rich one, it means that you've got more yellow than blue. Okay, so in my case, let's stretch this out real thin. We'll grab a little bit and stretch that out just a little bit. There we go. As you can see, right down here, it is kind of hard to see, but right here, it is more towards the crimson side. And it's nice and warm. Actually, it might help if I had a brush doing this because I'm actually having a hard time seeing it. Okay, let's try this. Just going to get one of my brushes that I don't care too much about. Oh, actually, there we go. Now you can see it. Now it's more like almost entirely towards the crimson side now, but it's a lot warmer of a brown. So it looks like a rusty color. Now, if you want it richer, you obviously just go into yellow and add your yellow in it, and it's going to just richen it up. And it's going to be a nice warm and rich brown. Now, if you wanted to change that and make it a cooler brown, all you have to do is go over here to blue, and you probably want a lot of it, or a lot more, and you just mix in the blue. And if you want it warmer, just go over here to the crimson. Here, let's show you all the example with all of the blue. There we go. See how it's a lot cooler? That's because of blue. Now, if you want a lot cool or a lot warmer, you just come over here to the blue, or sorry, crimson. Words. I don't do words. And grab some white. Mix it in with your brown. Grab your white so you can see what you got. Boom. There. That's a lot warmer than it was, comparatively. So this is a nice, nice, cool and rich brown, and this is a nice, warmer brown, and it's a little bit less towards the rich side, which means it's got a lot of red. So if you just want it a little bit more rich, all you go do is yellow, but it's still nice and warm. Here, let's get some white in there so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, by effect, white is actually a cool color, so it's kind of hard to see the difference between these two, but it's actually a lot richer on this side than it is on this side. And there we go. Let's see. I think the next batch we're going to do is going to be based off of orange. Yeah. I'm going to put this on my palette so I can use it later. And per the request of my buddy Lucas, I'm actually once I'm done with this, I'm actually going to show y'all how to do another varnishing, and I'm going to varnish one of my bigger paintings. I needed to do it anyway, so it works out. One very different in color, yes. So let's see here. So the way to get orange is obviously crimson and yellow. So just going to go into the two of those. I'm just going to mix them up right here on my palette or my little paper plate. Get out the dry paint as well. There we go. Got our nice orangish color. Make sure it's nice and blended together. And at this point, you guessed it, all you have to do to get your brown is go into some blue. And we're going to add a lot of it, so it's probably going to make it a nice cool blue or a cool brown. There we go. It might even make it green because there's more yellow and blue than there is crimson, to be totally honest. As powerful as crimson is, I put a lot of blue in there. There we go. It's almost a green. I think I need a little bit more crimson. See, since here, I'm actually going to show y'all what I have right here so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to wipe off the brush. Go into some white and show y'all just by grabbing the corner. Here. There we go. It's almost a green if you can see that right here. It's almost a green because it's brown. It is brown, but it's barely a brown. It's mostly towards the blue and the yellow side. It's actually kind of rich, which means it has a lot more of the yellow in it. And the way to change that is just to, if you want to go towards the warmer side, you just add a little bit more crimson. So we're just going to grab a little swab of that and then just pull that with some white right here. And we'll see the difference side by side. I'm just going to actually have to add more white. There we go. So richer, it almost looks sickly, and that means it's definitely more towards the blue and the yellow. And then this one is a lot warmer, so it's more yellow and crimson. and less of the blue. And this is a warmer color. Here we go. I just said that. That was goofy. All right. So let's see here. I do believe that was everything that I had for mixing today. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off the brush, and I'm going to start varnishing. Do y'all have any questions while we're at it? I'm going to give y'all about like 2 minutes while I clean my brush to just throw up questions if you have any, or comments, or what you would like to see next after today. I know I said I was going to paint some of y'all's pictures. It's just I've been pretty freaking busy. I will get around to that though. I remember a post I posted like a couple weeks ago. I said I was going to do that and I didn't, and I'm sorry that I have not. I will get around to that. I will probably do that on the next live stream, which will be, I think, not Wednesday. It's either Monday or Thursday next week. Here we go. Okay. Where's that? There it is. Got my lid. And I don't have my, well, I guess that'll do. So I'm going to use a smaller commission that I did. And this person still hasn't picked up their commission, so I'm just going to varnish it and give y'all an example on how to do that. It's super easy. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to have it up here. I know the lighting in here is not the best. It's because I don't have my other lights set up, but it's literally just going to be a systematic, very easy, just painting it down and then kind of going up and down. And I'm going to try adding a little bit more paint. Oh my goodness. I broke my brush. Bah! Let me fix that real quick. I'm going to trade that out real quick. And well, I might actually have to call it because that brush broke. I'm going to have to fix that. Well, I guess that's, yeah. You know what? I'll show you all this painting before I dip off and try to fix my stuff. So this is a painting I did a very long time ago. It was like 9-10 months ago. So everything is completely dry, rock solid. It would not budge even if you put paint thinner on it. So I'm going to put a varnish on it after I fix my brushes. So I will actually do a live stream probably on Saturday or Sunday, maybe, and do the varnishing. But I might even just have it as a recording from my buddy, or for everybody to kind of reference back in case y'all missed, like, how do you varnish? What do I use? Well, first off, I'll just let y'all know ahead of time, and I'm not really endorsing anybody or sponsored by anybody, but just what I have is like just a gloss varnish. It's called Gamvar by Gamlin. If y'all want to see it, take a look. This is just what I use. I'm not sponsoring them by any means. It's just what I have right on hand. And it's not quite a paint, and it's not quite, it's more like a medium that you can use, but it'll be on soft bristle brushes or soft synthetic brushes that you want to use it on, and probably wider than this, because I've been using this brush for the past who knows how long, for the last few paintings, and you know, I actually haven't gotten the best results with that, so I'm going to change it up and kind of experiment with that the next time, and probably use a wider brimmed brush, like one of the ones that you can get from Hobby Lobby. That's a blender brush. It's a very fine, soft, furry brush, like animal hair. I don't think it's a synthetic though. But if it is synthetic, like it's very soft and it's got wide brims. Like see how wide it is? It's like an inch or inch and a half. Yeah, it's an inch and a half. And on top of that, it's got a lot of bristles. You want it to have a lot of bristles. That way you can cover more ground and you don't have to worry about it like missing spots. I've had that problem with this one in particular. This one, once it gets wet, it'll just like I don't know, just kind of spread apart and fray when it doesn't have the medium in its bristles. Like once you've used it to a certain point, the bristles just kind of like go like that, and that's if you go over the gloss varnish, it's kind of a pain because it'll do like a double coating effect, and it looks kind of nasty, like someone spilled coffee on it. So you have to be very careful. But I will do that in another video. I hope y'all learned a lot from today's mixing and painting lesson. That's going to be all that we've got. Love y'all. Bless y'all. And y'all have a great night. Bye.